Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Home and Away, a podcast devoted to all things in and around the world of sporting Kansas City soccer. I am Drew Vanderploeg, joined once again, as always, by my good friend Cody Welton. This week on the podcast, many things have happened since we last convened to record the podcast. It's been a couple weeks. Sporting Kansas City had a couple games last week, finally returning to the friendly confines of Children's Mercy Park for both a match against Charlotte and RSL, coming away with 4 points from those two games. A very dramatic finish in the Charlotte game on Wednesday. Also dramatic at the end of the RSL game for different reasons, but I think, there are some things to take away from both of these matches that we'll try to cover. Given how much has happened since we last convened, I don't know that we'll spend as much time digging into every detail of both of those matches, just given the fact that while we like to cover as many tactical intricacies and things that we enjoyed that we found interesting from the games, also this team is kind of what it is right now. And so while there are a few things that I think are noteworthy, I don't want to belabor similar concepts that we've discussed quite a bit over the last several weeks or months, honestly, at this point, about kind of where they are. So we'll definitely get into sort of the key kind of things that we noticed from the games and some of the talking points that came out of it. Additionally, the MLSPA finally made their salary drop. Salary drop, I guess is the best way to describe it. They released all of the salary information for all the players. It seemed to be a little later this year than usual. I'm not quite sure what drove that, but as always, it creates quite the conversation around the league about what certain players are making and what contract decisions are made. I think that there's some interesting information in there about how Sporting had gone about contract management while Peter Vermees was still the chief soccer officer that we can discuss and kind of get into, as well as just how much flexibility they have both this summer and especially this winter to be fairly aggressive about remaking this team. And I think anyone that listens to this podcast, as well as the two of us, would agree that some remaking is needed. So there is a significant opportunity to do that. We'll get into those details on the pod tonight. Also, in Potpourri, we've got a few different topics. The U.S. men's national team is playing right now as we record this against Guatemala. They're already up 2-0 on 2 Diego Luna goals, which you love to see. We'll have to see how that game progresses as we record. So we'll discuss that, as well as kind of their progression to this point, as specifically the game against Costa Rica that got them to this semifinal. Was a very interesting one with a number of discussion topics to cover there. The U.S. women's national team smacked the crap out of Ireland twice. Number of current players, including Claire Hutton, Michelle Cooper, and Izzy Rodriguez, featuring in one or the other game. And the Club World Cup is happening. So they're down to the final 8 of that tournament, so we can give our thoughts of that as well. Also, we'll do a quick preview of the upcoming game on the 4th of July against Colorado Rapids, and kind of what our thoughts are and what we hope to see from that one. So, Cody, I guess let's start with the Wednesday night game. This game was not great until it was. Right? I will say this. Most all of the expected goals models had Sporting at its highest performance of the year. So I think from that perspective, you saw the potential of this team. That said, the vast majority of that XG was created in the last 15 minutes of the game, where when Santi Munoz came on with Dejan Joveljic, so you had sort of a two-striker setup going. I know Munoz was nominally supposed to be playing left wing, but he was playing fairly centrally in this one. When he came on in this game, obviously gets a goal. I think he had an assist and a goal in this one. He participated in both goals. So
he did not have a goal. The goal scorers were Toy and Joveljic.
Oh, that's right, Toy. That's right. He didn't have a goal. Did he have an assist on both? Now this is what happens when we record this a week after a game, and I haven't banged a film recently.
Yeah, and there's been a game in between, and it's just like it's craziness.
We're already off the rails on this one, guys. Don't worry. This one's probably going to be a little bit looser than usual, just because
Manu got one, and Munoz got one.
Okay, he definitely had the assist on Jovelic's goal to win the game, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What was with the little like sort of dolphin balance on his nose before dropping it down to his foot to cross it. So yeah, there was some fun stuff in there. So what was your takeaway, at least from Wednesday night's game? I mean, I like I said, it seemed pretty dire until it wasn't.
So my main takeaway was that Charlotte are not a very likable team at all. And
I think Wilf Zaha is just the unlikable.
No, I don't think any. I mean, my feelings on Eric Williamson are I think pretty well known.
Yeah.
And I feel the same about I think most of the rest of their players as well. But Zaha, he was extremely unlikable. But
I don't think his teammates like him.
It didn't seem that way. He seemed to be just all around, I think we can use the word cunt. I think that pretty
Cunty?
Succinctly.
We can call him cunty.
He seemed very cuntish. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that stood out to me. But also, I mean, it was kind of a boring game in the first half, especially, and it was really nice to see the squad sort of pull together and stick with it and grit out the win. And I think that for me was really one of the biggest takeaways, is that they didn't quit, they didn't back up, they kept pushing, and that applies to the players, but also applies to the coaching and the tactical changes and tactical subbing that Zvagnin did, which I thought. To go to sort of things we've mentioned in past podcasts, was very pragmatic and actually I think did worked, and the buttons he pushed turned out to be the right buttons, and I think that he deserves credit for that, and the players deserve credit for responding. Like Charlotte, I consider to be like a good team, right? They play in, I guess what probably most people would think would be a tougher conference in the Eastern Conference, and they have some good results if maybe they've been a little bit uneven recently, but I was impressed that Sporting Kansas City, I would call their performance really throughout the game as pretty pragmatic, and they did not let Charlotte dictate the terms of engagement, maybe as much as I was afraid that they were going to, seeing as how Charlotte is I think maybe a better team. And so like I said, I just was really impressed that they stuck with it and they competed throughout the game, and that's why they were there at the end of the game to make the magic. And I think maybe I texted you like I was really kind of disappointed with Jovelic's performance, and then he scores the game winner, just right place, right time, just like poacher. It was just. That's why he stayed. That's why I'm not the coach, right? Because I would have yanked him, and he wasn't yanked, and he scored the game winner, and it was awesome. It was a fun night to be in the crowd for sure.
So, I've got some other thoughts about Carey and his pragmatism, and he made some tactical changes at halftime that I think were important. And you put some stuff in the Discord that sort of alluded to what he was discussing when he was talking about his halftime changes. But I want to get back to Joveljic really quick, because I understand where your perspective comes from, but also I think the numbers don't bear out because I share your perspective. I feel like he's fairly absent for a lot of the game.
Yeah.
Until he's not.
Yeah.
Which is not uncommon for a striker, right?
Absolutely.
Like I think that's Olivier Giroud will be nowhere and then score 2 goals, and that's why he's Olivier Giroud. Although he's not going to be doing it for LAFC anymore. The Joveljic is a fairly high usage striker in the penalty area. Like his touches in the penalty area are amongst the highest in the league.
Yeah.
He's scoring at an extremely high rate.
Yeah.
So, like, what is it about his play that, like, frustrates you?
I think, honestly, I think anytime, anytime he is touching the ball with his back to the goal, is I'm ripe for frustration in that circumstance because he's like he's not a great. He doesn't have the greatest touch. He's not.
Is this Polito PTSD? Is this
I mean,
part of it?
I mean, it's kind of like, but he is he's a very similar player in some respects, right? He's not great at dribbling the ball. He's not. I think he's a better.
Bad at dribbling the ball.
He is. I think he's a better passer than Polito, but I don't think he's great at that either. But like you said, he is great at doing the thing that he's paid the big bucks to do, and that's at putting the ball in the goal, and at, as I said earlier, being in the right place at the right time. And that is a skill unto itself, and that it's really in some ways kind of an innate skill. It's not something that I think is easily taught or coached. He just has that thing, right, where he's just there to score goals, and
it's not streaky with him either.
No,
like,
it doesn't seem to be.
He has a history of scoring at this rate.
Yeah.
It's not like Polito where every 4 years he has a great scoring year,
right.
It's he seems to, at least with the small sample size that we have of his career in MLS, to be a pretty high scoring per 90 player. Like a half a goal per 90 is kind of what his history is in this league. And that's fucking
That's
great.
pretty good.
I mean, honestly, well, and you can't, I think I texted you this. It's like, there's no more important thing in this world that you can buy as a soccer team than goals.
Right. And if you can score, 16 to 20 goals a season, regularly, then what more can you ask for?
$3.3 million a year
seriously.
is well
worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I tend to agree with you. I think he has some flaws, but they're overcome by the fact that he just scores so regularly that it becomes sort of, I can overlook the flaws because he's so good at contributing what is the most important thing in the game, which is
and this is I think another thing that kind of bothered me with Polito is that Polito would disengage, I think, and even though it kind of might appear to just a casual watcher, myself included, that Decky is not having like a huge impact throughout the flow of the game. He never, like, he's always there when it matters, right? Like this isn't the first time that he's been scoring in the last 10 minutes or stoppage time, and so it he doesn't disengage completely. He keeps working, and he does enough defensively. And kind of to your point, I mean, there are things to quibble. Honestly, with just like with his hold up play and all of that stuff,
it's MLS, man.
But right, that's the thing. It doesn't matter.
We don't have Erling Haaland. We don't have Victor Gyökeres. Like there are levels to this, right?
Yep.
And a $3 million player a year in MLS is not going to be the same as a $15 million player a year in the Premier League, right?
And he is scoring goals, and he's scoring goals at a clip that we should all be happy with. And there's like even. My momentary grouchiness aside, there's no buyer's remorse from me. I think for either one of our DPs, honestly, I am like super, super pleased with the performance we're getting from both of those guys.
Yeah, we'll get to Mauro Garcia in a second. So the other thing I wanted to highlight was Carey's sort of tactical changes at halftime. So obviously he made some, as you noted, noteworthy substitutions in this game that helped sort of shift the balance of the game, and was willing to bring on fresh attackers and try to take it to Charlotte, which paid off. But additionally, he changed their philosophy a little bit towards a little bit of a higher pressure man marking setup. That is not something we've seen them use a lot, but it was something that they apparently saw in the first half could be useful. Dean Smith teams tend to be a little bit staid, right? Like they're not really ball progressors, so to speak. And so he was like, hey, if we pick up our pressure earlier, if we man mark really well on our pressure, it's going to be difficult for them to get the ball out. We're going to get turnovers in quality areas, and eventually that'll turn in. And to be fair, Sporting didn't score either of these goals until stoppage time, but they were creating problems for Charlotte for
Yeah.
much of the second half. And so I know you highlighted this. Football Meta has become a favorite YouTube channel of both of ours because of how well it visually depicts some of these tactical strategies. So you had put something in the Discord about kind of what man marking pressure looks like and how that sort of evolved from the previous pressure tactics of the past. What did you think of Carey, like, sort of recognizing this and making this adjustment? Because these types of in-game adjustments are something we are not familiar with seeing Sporting Kansas City do.
No, and to be very transparent, like I didn't go find that because of that. I found it on a completely different sort of tangent that I was on, and I was unaware that Zvagnin had made those comments until after I posted that in the Discord, and it makes sense to me. And I think that one of the things that made me maybe kind of go look for that stuff is I did notice specifically Santi Munoz man marking, and that's just it stood out to me because it's not something that like Peter Verme's teams or even
Verme's teams were very zonal,
right.
marked.
Even Zvagnin's teams, previous to this, like I hadn't really noticed it, and so it really kind of stood out to me, and then that just got me to thinking that this is something that that I think that you and I have noticed in global football, especially in the Premier League for some time, is that there seems to be this, especially during pressing sequences, a very man-oriented approach. And so I thought to myself, well, if anybody is talking about that, it's going to be Football Meta. And so I was happy to find something about it there, and it all sort of makes sense, right? Like the the man marking in response to sort of very very patterned and structured and predictable build out sequences really lend themselves to man marking defensively, and it's also kind of a nod to Bielsa and the things that Bielsa did, but not
completely murder ball
right.
like that. It's different. But
yeah.
What do you think about the fact that they have that club in the bag that he can pull out at halftime?
I mean, that is like that's the kind of thing that makes me think that maybe Zvagnin would be a good choice moving forward. I'm still really very much on the fence about that, and very much willing to be proven either way, or listen to both sides of that issue. But that sort of like attention to global football trends and that sort of like tactical nuance is. I mean, that says a lot to me, and the fact that you're able to implement it successfully with a team that is frankly like one of the youngest teams in MLS this year. All of those things I think are really important things to consider when we talk about how successful Carey Zvagnin has been as a coach.
I can't remember. Was it you that shared with me the article about managers and their and being adaptable and it being something, or was it something that TransferFlow did? Maybe the TransferFlow did.
Maybe it was TransferFlow. I don't remember sharing that.
But it was sort of a conversation around the value of managers. I think it was TransferFlow because I remember John Mueller talking about it as well. The value of managers and sort of the ideologues and sort of the control freaks, the Pep Guardiolas of the world, the Peter Vermeeses of the world, right? And versus those that can adapt as the front office starts to sign different players that they're able to get and find the way to best maximize their talent. And I think Zvagnin is very clearly much more on that sort of pragmatic side of things, and it's like, here's the guys I have, how can I do it? He even said it after the game against Charlotte. He's like, I got to figure out how to get Decky, Munoz, and Manu on the field at the same time. Yeah. Because it's clear that when I have those three on the field, good things happen. And he said that it's like, Munoz is, he started and played most of the game against RSL, but that was more due to like load managing Decky, I think, than anything else. Right. And so, like, how do you maximize the qualities? Because it's obvious that Munoz has got some stuff, right? Like, it's clear that he has some skills that are valuable. And it was interesting to me to see him sort of in real time insert players and just sort of let them play soccer. And
Yeah.
I think when we talk about the RSL game, we'll say that as well. Like Ian James was allowed to play soccer in that game,
Yeah, yeah.
which is not something you'd normally see from a 17-year-old getting his first league start. So I think there's, like, to your point about Carey's style, I think it is more of a modern coaching style that might be valuable, or at least in the world of analytics, in the world of especially MLS, where you're one of 30 teams competing with the exact same salary rules and scouting in the exact same pool of players, and you're trying to get the best quality guys you can. A rigid sort of dogmatic philosophy is probably not the best way to go. You need to be a little bit more pragmatic. You need to be a little bit more adaptable. You need to be able to look at, like, I have this group of players, and these are the best 11 guys I've got. How do I employ it in a way that is functional and sets them up for success, but also sets our team up for success, to the most potential for success?
Well, and to your point, like, it might not be, and it's probably not like a 4-3-3 or your what you would consider a standard 4-3-3, and so that, just bringing
but
back
they weren't
that,
really doing that at the second half of the game, right? Barlow dropped back, and they were playing more of a back three, and they were kind of more in this sort of 3-4-1-2, I guess is the best way I would describe it at the end of the game, for sure. And that it worked. Right. And
I was just drawing a a comparison to the way that the team was at the start of the year, right? And that having the flexibility and the, I guess, confidence to go ahead and put players in different positions, and where you think that they would be most comfortable, and where their weaknesses are minimized and their strengths are maximized. I think that you can't just rely on formations when you're dealing with that kind of thing, which I think is I mean, that seems very obvious, but when you're trying to get, like, those four players on the field at the same time, it's going to require something maybe a little bit different.
Yeah, and I even think it's less about formations, but more about aerial responsibility and possession in the attack, right?
Absolutely.
And also rest defense positioning and things like that. It's less about, is this a 3-4-1-2 or whatever. It's more about, when we're in our sort of attacking shape, everyone knows where they're supposed to be, and everyone knows what their responsibilities are, and everyone knows what the rotational responsibilities are as people move. Because a few of those players will move a lot, right? Yeah. Santi Munoz moves all over the field. Manu Garcia moves vertically a lot. He'll come back and forward a lot. And like when Eric Tommy's on the field, we know he's going to move left to right quite a bit. So it's more about the teammates understanding each other and making those rotations effectively. If you want to look at a team that does this really well, Columbus Crew is a prime example of it. Like, they do play in this sort of 3-4-2-1 shape, but any one of the front six could be in any position at any point in time, right? Yep. And there's, like, that is the part that I think is the next step for this team tactically, is to have some more fluidity in how they do those things. They're getting better at it. They're much more fluid than they've been in the past.
Some players are getting better at it.
Some players are better. But
some not so much.
Well, and then we'll get into that conversation. We talk about salaries and opportunities for change and whatnot in a minute. But yeah, I think that we are seeing a shift in that regard, which I think is positive, in my opinion. So what do you think of Santi Munoz? Because we obviously haven't seen him a lot, but his goal contributions per 90 are kind of insane. They're not quite Milan Ilashki insane, but they're close, and to that level. And by the way, I think I don't know if I texted you at the time or I texted you after the game. If he scored that scorpion kick,
dude, that would have been
the coolest goal I'd ever seen in the stadium.
Yeah, I don't know, that the Johan Quase goal was pretty good, and
against Dallas.
Jimmy Medranda hit
Jimmy
that
hit one
looping
from even
banger.
further away,
Yeah.
and even harder hit than Clause's goal. But yeah, I mean, I'm still that.
Yeah,
And
that goal would
part
have
of
been
it,
pretty amazing.
that like we're both closer to that end as well. So
Yeah.
like I saw it pretty well right in my face when he did, and I saw him do it. I'm like, and I thought he might have scored, and
Yeah.
it was wild. But anyway, the
He is-
quality
he-
of Santi Munoz, because I think we were both a little bit like, I mean, is this just is
Right.
this just like somebody off of Santos's trash heap? They're trying to move off.
That's what
or,
it. That's
like-
what it. That's what I suspected.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case at all. It doesn't appear to be the case, and he's definitely technically skilled, and he seems to read the game really well. He has a good touch. He has, I think, really good instincts. Excuse me. He has really good instincts in the box. I think that he's probably not. He's probably not what you want from your like an all and out like center forward type player, but that's okay. That's what you have Decky for, and I think that he's good enough at that to fill in as a sub or in spot starts. I do think that he is. He's not. He doesn't seem like super midfieldy, but I think that he can play that maybe sort of like super attacking mid or second forward type of role really well. That seems to be something that seems to be a role that he would thrive in. He seems to combine with other players. I like his passing vision. He has I think a really good work rate also. He's always moving, and I think that I've just been very impressed with him. And if Zvagnen's stated goal is to get him on the field more with those other attacking players, I think only good things can come from that.
I've made this comparison a lot, mainly because he's the only guy that I can think of that has built a very successful career off of playing this way. He's sort of a Thomas Muller type of player, right?
I was going to say like Chicharito, but I could see Muller.
Chicharito, maybe, but Chicharito would hold up and whatnot.
Yeah.
Although I will say Santi can hold up. He can hold up in the middle of the field and release a pass really well. So he's also much better defensively than Decky is. So I think that I just think of a guy who can be in and around the area and sort of roam a little bit more, and be effective doing that is kind of his thing. But yeah, I think that I've enjoyed watching him play. He obviously has significant quality. I would say more quality than even Shoppy or Shallowy's a different player, so I'm not going to try to compare the two there. But I think that he is one of the more talented players on the team. There's no doubt about that, right?
Yeah.
And I think
he seems like he could have a very high ceiling.
Yes, for sure. And I don't know what the buy option is on him. I don't know that I necessarily want him to be the third DP on the team. Like, I don't think that's it. But I also think that he is definitely a quality player that I like for sure.
Yes,
And
I totally
think
agree.
that there's an opportunity for him to really continue to contribute to this team, so which is good. This was, as I noted earlier, the highest XG of the year. Some models have it as much as 2.8 XG for Sporting in this game, which is positive, right? Like, it's positive to see them creating high quality chances, even if most of them happened at the end of the game when they really brought a bunch of attackers forward. But I also think that that's great that they're able to create chances when they do that. Like, this is a team where Vermees would throw shit at the wall at the end of games and it wouldn't do anything. And in this game, we saw like substantive change happen from attacking subs in this one, and I think it was valuable.
Well, I think that one of the keys is it's not just subs to go on and do the same thing that the other guys were trying to do, right? Like, that's definitely not what Mason Toy was doing. Mason Toy was out there to get him behind, and he did it. And I think that when you're able to bring on a player like that to run at back lines, and then you have somebody with the quality of Manu able to drop in balls.
And what a calm
perfect
finish by Toy on this goal.
Dude, it really was. Everything about that goal was was chef's kiss, man.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about Manu dropping dimes, because he dropped dimes on both of these, right?
Yeah.
And we had quite the fervent debate on the Discord about Manu's overall quality and capability, mainly because I think that I posted something from Joe Lowry as he was like and I want to be clear, when I'm not having a go at Joe when it comes to this stuff. Joe and I are friends. I'm not really trying to be mean to him about this, but also when you cover 30 teams,
Yep.
there's only so much of these games you can watch. And also your priors are probably going to sort of inform how you look at things, right? And when you're writing 3 sentences about each team every week, like there's going to be some stuff that was, may or may not be fully flushed out if you had been watching the team all year. But I think Joe was on the record early in the year about not sort of seeing it with Mano. And I think you and I have been fairly fervent proponents of Manu Garcia since joining the team. Like, we saw it fairly quickly. I will also admit my own priors. When I scouted him on Y-Scout prior to this signing, I was extremely high on his capabilities and what they would offer the team. I feel like I've been proven mostly right by seeing what they provide the team. The guy is now in solo third place in MLS in assists with 9. He has 11 goal contributions in 19-20 games. So it's pretty good. I think Mike Kuhn said that he is on pace for the best assist season since Benny Feilhaber's third place in the MVP voting. I gotta believe he's on pace to probably break Benny Feilhaber's assist number from that season. He's at 9 already, and I think Feilhaber had 15 that year. So, like, now granted, he doesn't score goals. He's not a goal scoring midfielder. He is a provider. But both of these goals were effectively orchestrated by him. And it's just so nice to have a player that can do this.
He's a very consistent player too. Like his FOTMOB ratings since I don't know, like the St. Louis game have all been like super high. Since the New England game, they've all been over 7, and he's another one of those players. Like I said with Decky, he also doesn't quit, right? Like, he's around doing it at the end of the game. He's there to hurt tired defenses at the end of the game. He still is maintaining his that high quality because he's a fit player, and he's also shown that he can be dangerous from a variety of spots on the field. You mentioned his sort of vertical mobility, and he's able to cause problems with his passing from deeper spots, but also all the way up into the box. And I don't know that we've really ever had a player on Sporting Kansas City who had like La Pausa like he does, right? Like he's just, his calmness on the ball is just really fantastic. And he doesn't have the scoring chops of like Evander or even Lucho, but as I think I said last week or maybe the week before, like, his passing is as good as those guys. He can just find, like, the ball just goes from his foot to the player he wants it to, and whether it's a dink pass, whether it's a cross, he is just really good at just texturing balls to get in and around and over and through defenses. It's really fantastic.
Always looking to move the ball vertically.
Always. Yeah, he's a very
moving the ball
player.
forward. Yep. This guy does not pass backwards. Like,
no.
he seems allergic to it, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a backwards pass, he's going to dribble around 3 guys, and then find the forward pass.
And that's almost got him into trouble a few times.
He has a bad turnover rate. Let's be honest, right? Because he does try shit a lot, and so he has had turnovers in bad positions a fair bit. Yes,
absolutely.
Like,
he had one this weekend.
That I would certainly sort of not be excited about is that he does make bad turnovers at times, but everything else, like, I think who said it in the Discord? He's like Darlington Nagbe, but knows about offense.
Yeah. That's pretty good. I like that. His ability to receive.
Cameron said it. He's like Darlington Nagbe, but knows what offense is. And I was like, oh my god, first of all, the shots fired, but also like it's accurate, right? Like he is able to maintain ball control in a lot of, which also again gets him into problems sometimes. Like he overdoes it at times, but also like he always looks to go forward. That is his only goal at all times. And
his ability to receive and turn is really fantastic, and like that's a pretty simple soccer move type thing. But
it sounds simple, but man, you
there
you
are
have
multiple
to have so
games.
much spatial awareness.
There are multiple games this year where he's done something that's made me like make a sound. Like whoa, like that was really nice. He's a really fun player to watch.
I get that different people are looking for different things from players, but he is by far my favorite player that this team has signed in 15 years. Like I cannot tell you how much I enjoy watching him play. And again, it's not to say that it's perfect by any means, but he is a guy that honestly I think was a bargain.
Yeah,
it
seems
$4
like
million transfer fee, $2 million a year salary, like that is bargain for what he is providing to this team. I think as far as like talent and like soccer playing, he's the best player on the team, and I don't think it's really that close.
No, it's not close.
And some people will disagree. We had quite the fervent debate, and well, I would say one person. I'm not gonna dog him out on the podcast, but there was a fervent debate in the Discord about like what Manu's quality was and how much he was offering the team. And I think that comparing him to Evander and Lucho is also a little bit unfair because they're different kinds of players.
Absolutely. And that's why I think that what I had mentioned to you a few weeks ago is that.
By the way, he's got more assists than either one of those guys.
Yeah, I think that I could see him with the right players around him being able to play more of an 8 role, more of a box to box role, and slotting somebody in ahead of him. And maybe that player could be Santi Munoz. I don't know, but maybe it could be another more traditional 10 type player. But I think that. That ability exists, right? Like I think that given Manu's predilection and even his preference for dropping deeper back to help sort of facilitate build out and progress the ball between the boxes, I think that there could very well be room on the field for another more creative player further advanced than him, and
especially given that Manu's seems to be sort of elite trait is chipped balls over the top.
Oh man, for real.
And
and through balls. I swear that just him this season has more through balls than probably the last 10 years of Sporting Kansas City players, all of them, all combined. And that's just dangerous.
He can sort of take over because Jacob Bartlett is not Elie when it comes to that kind of stuff, right?
He's not going to be.
But Manu could be that guy, right? Like he's very good at hitting those passes. So there's a way for them to maybe double pivotize this a little bit, or maybe run a back 3 with him and Jake or Basong next to him with more technical players in front that can then receive that pass and then hit the next pass, right?
That's 100% my thought.
That is the biggest issue this team has, is that right now Manu Garcia is the only guy that is consistently hitting a useful pass that turns into something, right? And they have to find a way for there to be someone behind him. They can hit the pass to him so he can hit the next pass, or they need to have someone in front of him that can hit the next pass. There need to be at least 2 that can do this. I think Santi Munoz looks like maybe a guy that could do that, right? And I think you had even suggested to me that you might like to see that happen. So let's talk a little bit about the RSL game. I think the most notable situation in this game, or the most notable sort of takeaway from this game, is a barely 17-year-old center back started this game and just looked like a normal pro.
Yeah, I think that and they said it multiple times, but it just bears repeating that he was barely 17, right? He was 17 by a couple of days, and he just his athletic build, doesn't look like a regular old 17-year-old. But I think even more than that, I think that his demeanor on the field, his calmness, his willingness to take chances, specifically dribbling forward, I thought was really nice. Eliminating pressers on the dribble, already at his young age, that looked like, I don't want to say elite skill because I don't want to get over my skis, but like it looked pretty impressive.
Can you imagine Peter Vermees allowing a 17-year-old to play that way?
I mean, I can imagine somebody doing that and
Getting
the veins and Vermees, the head popping and that person never seeing the field again. Yes, I can imagine that part of it. But yeah, it was really nice, and I think honestly, like, and I was thinking about this. I think that this is another really good man management job by Gary Zavagnan. James was not. I don't think that there were a lot of training wheels put on him, but I also don't think that he was asked to do too much. I think that I think the task he was given was to go out and play his game, and I think that he did so, and it seemed like he was given license to do that. And he made some mistakes, sure, but they I think fortunately for the team and for him, they weren't mistakes that ended up really hurting the team. And I think on balance, his everything else that I saw from him was much more positive. And it didn't stand out as much when I watched the video of it, but in person, I was really, really impressed with his 1v1 defending. He's really difficult to get by. And, for a kid who's that young, who's
and also
that big,
rotates his the player he's defending into help.
Yes, into help or away from the goal, whatever he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I did notice that I think his fitness kind of let him down towards the end of the game because he did let some people by him and make some bad passes towards the end of the game. But that's what I think really stood out to me, is that it was at the end of the game, which signals to me that it's a match fitness thing, and that probably the guy that we saw at the beginning of the match was closer to the real Ian James.
And he's never played a full MLS match.
Right. Against grown men.
He played a couple minutes in Champions Cup against Miami, and he played a couple minutes at the end of the Charlotte game.
Yeah.
He has never done a 90-minute match against grown-ass adults.
Yep.
And it's different. Like, even Jansen Miller will tell you, like, he was shocked at the difference in the speed and the amount of fitness that he's had to build up.
Yep.
And it takes time. Like, you need to play those games for you to get to that level. I think it was noteworthy that, for the most part, you really didn't even notice he was there.
Right.
And that's the best thing you can say about a defender for the most part, because it means that they're not making mistakes. Right, they're not making significant mistakes, and he was in the right places. I don't think he had a noteworthy match in any way as a defender, but that, as a barely 17-year-old kid getting his first start at this level, that's perfect, right?
That's
that
not only
is
like
ideal.
that is ideal. And
you need to tell the folks what you texted me after the game.
I texted you that this club is going to sell him for a lot of money, and I stand by that. I mean, because I see, just when I watched him, I see like a Premier League defender potential, right? Like, because he's got the size, he's got the athleticism, he's got the unflappability, and for him to exhibit all of those as young as he is, and in his very first game, and frankly also in a little bit of a pressure cooker game, right? Like, that was a contentious game, especially at the end, and especially being able to see out. To gain a point down a man. It's just a super impressive performance by him, and when you combine that with his with his dribbling ability, his passing ability, his 1v1 defending, I think he has a really, really high potential future. So exciting.
I agree. The ceiling is super high with him.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how much of that potential he reaches, for sure, but I mean, I can't remember. I've been high on this guy for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
it's a player that I've been fairly excited about for a little while. He met all of those expectations. It probably exceeded them even. I was like, okay, it's his first game. There's probably going to be some bumpiness. He looked like he belonged on
I
that
mean,
field.
we talked. I remember in a pod. I don't know, maybe last summer, and we talked specifically about maybe the team trading for Justin Glad or signing Justin Glad as a free agent, and you saw those two players out there playing against one another. And Ian James he might already be a better center back than Justin Glad. I don't know, that might be going a little too far, but they're not
take zone on that.
They're not that far off. Like, they're not as
Right.
far off as you would believe, given their age and experience gaps. And so, man, just really super impressive.
Me too. Yeah, I agree. Me too. I totally
And
agree with what you're saying.
I know that you probably fall into this category too. It was a little bit disheartening to realize that the combined age of the two starting center backs was less than my own.
It's less than mine as well.
That's
so.
what I was going to say. I think it's probably less than yours too.
I mean,
so that's
it's only 40.
It is what it is, right? That's the problem, right? They're so young, it's ridiculous.
Jansen Miller, I think, even said after the game that, he's like, I couldn't have done that at 17. There's no way. And so, like, even he respects the level that Ian is at right now as a 17-year-old. I'll be interested to see what his usage is in the future, right? I think you need to be careful and not try to overdo it, but also you don't get that 90-minute fitness by sitting on the bench. And you don't get it by playing in MLS Next Pro either. So,
and if you're good, you're good.
Yeah,
right. Like,
right.
And we've seen already that
if you're good enough, you're old enough, right? That's the old phrase, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So the question is, I don't know that he is like Joaquin Fernandez is a better player than he is. Like, let's be honest, he is a better player than Ian James is. That's not to say that Ian James won't surpass him, and I think will surpass him at some point. But right now, he is a better player than Ian James is. And you do put a lot of responsibility on a rookie center back on the right when James is in the game, right? So, like, there is that. So I think that there's a balance that needs to be struck here, but also I think that James has earned the right to play some more, right? I think that was clear. You're muted, buddy.
I'm just agreeing with you. Yes, absolutely. He definitely deserves the right to play more, and even if his next game isn't quite as stellar, he still, I think, has shown that he deserves chances, and we've seen already that this this season is like it's the home and away proof season, right? Like, we're like, all the things that we've been advocating for have been kind of coming to fruition, and you play young players, especially players who acquit themselves well, and you get rewarded, with exciting performances. You get rewarded with hopefully eventually with big money sales. That's kind of the way it goes. Either big money sales or quality, MLS starters. Either way, it's a win.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot we can go over here. We're already about 48 minutes in. So
we can talk about Bulls camp.
Okay.
I mean,
Let's talk about
Bulls camp and Miller both, right? I mean, they don't get a point without either one of those guys. They once again did a fantastic job, and that clearance by Miller off the line was it was just fantastic to be.
Can I say something? I like the
clearance.
Please,
go for it.
I like the clearance, but I love the way he celebrated it even more. Like, just the Jansen is this guy. I've gotten to talk to him a couple times now. This is him. This is the person that he is. He is just this dude. And the fact that he's just hopping around, screaming like he's almost like doing the LeBron while he's like celebrating his goal, like when he makes a good play. And I just love it, man. I love that fucking energy. Like, we have so desperately needed some vibes on this team for a long time, and he has all of them. And I don't know. Like, look. Yes, he's also playing well. Like, no doubt, he's playing well. But also just his personality is something this team has desperately needed. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I totally agree. And he, this isn't the first time he's made big plays to save goals, and I totally agree on the vibes front too. Like he is. He has the bite. He has the vibes. He has he has the thing where you have another player that that opposing teams really don't want to play against, that opposing fans are going to hate. And and I was thinking, maybe Miller's ceiling is Sporting Kansas City's version of like, oh my gosh, the name Chad. What's his name from Seattle?
Chad Marshall?
Chad Marshall. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just a comparison that sprung into my mind over the weekend. Maybe so, maybe not. I don't know. But
but he's also breaking out the long throws, Besler style.
Right. Yeah.
We've seen him do that a couple times now
true.
too.
That's true.
Remember,
I don't know. He's a little bit more of a firecracker than Besler, but
Besler was more of a firecracker a little later in his career. I feel like he wasn't that when he was 23. But yeah, I mean, if we need to get Bees to like do some like instruction on the long throw, because if Jansen can bring that out too, like, man, I'm all in. I'm all in at that point.
Yeah, and I think speaking of long throws, I mean, I think that the team is continuing to show improvement in set pieces. I mean, they haven't scored off set pieces, but they're generating XG from set pieces, and they're not allowing goals at the rate that they were, and so I think that's just another.
That's another thing that James is good at. He's good in the air, man. He's a really good like aerial clear. Like there's just there's been so many positives, and I know that like still this team is not good, right? We're gonna get into the roster here in a second. They're not very good.
No.
But I haven't felt this positive about the future of this team in quite some time. Like,
totally agree.
You used to look at this team and go, how are they going to get better?
Well, that's because everybody was like over 30.
Right. Yeah.
And if you're bad and you're over 30, that's
ridiculous contracts that make no fucking sense. Like,
right.
And I just like I'm so warmed by the fact that we do like Mike put this up in the Discord. Sporting Kansas City is amongst the league leaders in under 23 players.
That's just crazy.
It's a wild stat to even think that this team would be close to, right?
Yeah. And we're not anywhere close to the bottom in substitutes use per game either.
No,
and that's
I think I looked at it about a month ago, and I think Carey had not only used 4 a couple times.
Right.
And it's still the same. I'd have to look at all the games, but it's rare that he's not using 5, and if it is, he's using 4. So and he rotated a lot in the second game too, even with a short bench. Still rotated, still put different players in. I'm not sure. Like I think you can see the limitations on the depth of the bench when Memo Rodriguez is playing regularly. But
and Tim Leibold, yes.
Tim Leibold, yeah, who's making $950,000 this year.
Lord.
But we'll get to that in a second.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, you can tell what the limitations are when you make those changes. But also, he's a pragmatist, and he's like, look, I mean, we just played on Wednesday, and it's fucking hot as hell, and Decky pulls up with that hamstring cramp when he scores the goal. Like, you need to manage your players, and you need to manage their fitness. And I just wanted to point out that I would be happy to let Johnny Russell dunk on me at the back post for $900K. I'll do it for half that. I'm generous. You'll take $450,000 to watch Johnny Russell dunk on you. It was a great. I'll even put up a token. It was a great header by Johnny. But he did dunk on Leibold. He did. It was a poor defensive coverage by Leibold. It was. On TV they were trying to blame Bartlett for that. I was a little skeptical of that. Yeah, because he got sucked over to the other side and wasn't able to. Perhaps your left back could defend. Well, right, and so that is not a job that Bartlett is ever tasked with. So it left me to be, do you ever watch this team? But anyway, I digress. Yeah, I mean, Well, that's what happens with Apple stuff. Although
Yep.
Nate and Devin. Oh wait, that was
It was
that,
it was
Nate
Devin.
and
Yeah, it was
right?
Devin. It was Devin who made the
Devin
comment.
has
Sure.
called a couple sporting
Yeah.
games recently. So
Yeah.
and I got to be honest. Like I think Devin's a smart soccer guy, and I normally don't have a problem with what he's saying. I don't know that I agree with that, but that's also being like really aware of Sporting's defensive rotation responsibilities, and I don't know that he's watched enough games to be aware of that.
Completely
Anyway,
agree.
it was bound to happen, right? Like this was the easiest bet that you could make if you were
Yeah.
in Kansas and wanted to bet on sports, was that Johnny Russell was going to score in this game. I thought it was interesting. I saw him after the game and talked to him a little bit, and he was saying the same shit he was saying in the press and whatnot. He's like, well, I wanted to stay, but they didn't want me. And I'm like, that's a little bit of revisionist history about what actually happened in that circumstance. But I also, I can appreciate Johnny, like, his being fired up to try and score that goal, right?
Sure.
And
He's a competitor. Yeah,
he is.
absolutely.
And
That's why he was good.
That is why he will always be loved in Kansas City, because of the competitor that he was. So, I can appreciate that part.
I still think he's washed. That's the only thing he did all game. So, the club made the right choice.
Can we also talk about how much Jansen Miller had Willie Agata in a fucking locker?
Oh yeah. I mean,
he dominated that
yeah,
competition, right?
he did absolutely.
And it was obvious that it was Jansen's responsibility
Yep.
to deal with Willie on balls over the top, and literally allowed him to do nothing.
Yep, he did a great job.
Yeah. Okay. We have to talk about the referee.
The G plus leader. That's Jansen Miller.
Is he
week
the G
in,
plus
week
leader
out.
on the team?
I don't know. But
Manu
but,
has been every time I've looked, but yeah, I mean Jansen's up there. He's definitely a good player, a G plus. We have to talk about the refereeing for just a moment, because it was obviously quite a conversation. This shit happens so much, and I don't really want to turn this into this sort of common refrain, which is complaining about referees.
Right.
Referees in games, they tend to, it just is what it is, right? They're a part of the game. You have to sort of deal with it. It happens. This was a situation that was it's just too familiar to me with MLS referees. They start to allow a lot of contact to go early. There was a lot of contact in the first 20 minutes of this game. And then for whatever reason, this guy sort of decided, okay, we're not going to allow contact anymore. I'm going to, quote unquote, take control, and then called everything.
Yeah.
And called it super tight. And it didn't go from hey, guys, calm down or I'm going to start calling fouls. It went from Tommy gets an extended arm through his back in the penalty area that's no foul, to 3 yellow cards for Sporting for fairly benign
Yep.
fouls. And so it really shifted just very quickly, right? And so this is the problem that I have with it. It's you need to have a level of consistency. You do, as a referee, need to exert control when things are getting out of hand. I totally understand that part of it. But there needs to be at least some sort of hey, don't do that again or we're going to have a problem. And I didn't see him communicating in that way. He just all of a sudden decided to start calling a lot of shit. And then we have the whole Jake Davis situation, right? And let's be honest, Jake has to be smarter about how he's managing these scenarios, especially after he's on a yellow, right? Getting the second yellow, he tries to step out of the second challenge and he doesn't, and it's a second yellow card.
Right.
And it's a dumb challenge. It's very similar to Kyrie Shelton's second yellow. It's just a dumb thing to do in that circumstance. There was no reason for Jake to even make contact there. He had 4 defenders behind. There was literally no reason for him to make that contact.
And then he acted as guilty as you could possibly act.
Right. Well, I mean,
that was bad.
Yeah. But also, we have the whole situation with the guy that he fouled. Should he have been on the field still at that point? And this is the whole thing where he got the first yellow card because, and I think it was for dissent, because of Gozo like sort of swiping at him. I think that's
Oh,
what
really?
happened.
Oh, I thought because he fouled Gozo before Gozo lashed out.
And that may have
because that could have been a card too. Like both of those were
yellow card. It was yellow cardable for him.
Sure,
regardless,
absolutely.
Right?
But Gozo should absolutely have been sent off. I don't understand anybody who says otherwise. Seriously,
this is another similar situation where there's one person in our Discord
Dude,
that thinks differently.
I mean,
it's okay.
I mean, holy crap, you can't do that. Even if
he swiped out off the ball to try to clean him out on the way through, and it was an intentional act. And
studs up.
Yeah, I mean, it really gets in. Like, I think the counter argument is that we're in a part of the rule book where there's serious foul play and violent conduct, right? Serious foul play is related to challenging for the ball. Right. It's very specific to challenging for the ball. Violent contact is for things that happen off the ball. This is obviously off the ball, so we got to look at violent conduct. And in the violent conduct rule, it very specifically says uses or attempts to use excessive force.
Right.
In my opinion, the way that I read that is if you attempt to use excessive force, it should be violent conduct, and he attempted to use excessive force. The way that I've heard it described is attempted to use excessive force but missed, right? Like you could see the excessive force, but it didn't make contact.
Okay.
Right? And
if you take a swing at somebody and you miss, like you're still swinging.
That's kind of where I'm at as well on this. But there has been also some conspiracy theories about, MLS or Pro specifically trying to reel back the amount of VAR reviews that are overturning referee calls on the field because it gives them a bad rap as not refereeing the game well. It's a conspiracy theory. I have no validity to this claim whatsoever. I'm saying that is a refrain. There was and the people saying it are kind of saying that, like, look, we were getting like 12 reviews a week, and then all of a sudden it's been 3 a week ever since. So for it to change that significantly, I think when I looked at the replay, I think 2 things. I think one, I think if it's called a red, it doesn't get overturned. And I think 2, I don't know that the camera angles can show enough of the contact to validate that it should be a red card. And I think in the past, VAR and MLS had been sort of like, we can see enough of this to be fairly sure that this is what it is.
Sure.
Now they're like, no, unless I have a perfect camera angle that shows it, I'm not going to do the review. And I think that's what happened in this circumstance. Regardless, Jake's got to be smarter.
Absolutely.
On the second.
On both of them, honestly. They were both bad. They were both bad tackles.
I mean, to come in at halftime and get 2 yellows before the 80th minute, like,
it's impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
I don't think
commitment to the game.
Yeah. Mike Kuhn's going to have to tell us if anyone's ever done that before. But, coming in at halftime and then getting sent off before the 80th minute is, it's strong. With 2 yellows.
I really enjoy how every single podcast episode we give Mike Kuhn homework.
He loves that shit.
Oh, no, I know, I do too. I love it when you give him homework. Yes. I'm just saying, for those of you drinking at home, you can,
So let's before we move on to talking about salaries, let's talk a little bit about Matt Besler. So he gets inducted to the Sporting Legends during this game, and it was really cool to see. First of all, there were so many former players of the team at this one to celebrate Matt, and I think. I'm a center back sort of apologist. I played center back all the way through high school. That is a position that I really enjoy. He is, I don't think it's even wild to say this, probably the best center back that's ever played for this club. Mm-hmm. And probably doesn't get enough credit that he should for some of the things that he was good at, like an exceptional athletic person. Like as an athlete, he was really good, but also
beep test legend, man.
Yeah, but also like well, traditionally the white center back is not the fast guy or the athletic guy or any of that stuff unless you're named Mickey Van de Ven. But usually, like, you're the cerebral player or something like that. He had that shit too. His game reading was insane. But also, he could hit a fucking long ball with that left foot like nobody else. And he had the long throws. Like, this guy was unbelievable at so many things. Also, the captain of the team for a long time, and just, it was very heartwarming to me. I know Matt a little bit, so for me, it was really, really, like, exciting to see this happen. This was like the most 100% like first ballot sort of sporting legend that you could ever imagine. So, you know, feel free to add your thoughts about Matt and the night and just sort of the what he's meant to this club.
I think that he's one of those players that it's easy to take him for granted while he's playing, and then once he leaves, you're like, oh shit, like we really missed that guy.
They've been trying to replace him for 4 years.
I mean, that's the thing, right? He's just he was always a class act, and on the field, but it seems that is the way he is off the field as well, and so anytime you can sort of back it up with your actions off the field and be an outstanding member of the community and just an all around good teammate, good guy. What more can you say about him? Like, he deserves to be on the wall, and he probably deserves more than that, honestly. And it was as a sort of maybe a newer soccer fan at the time, it was really really great to see a hometown guy playing for the team. It was a pleasant surprise when he was made a DP, and being able to watch somebody in both Besler and Zusi, somebody from the team that you go and see every weekend, being able to watch those guys play at the World Cup against people like Ronaldo and Arjen Robben. I mean that was
Matt has said that, like, the one picture he has of his playing career is that one of him and Ronaldo.
It's great. It's fantastic. It's a classic. It's a legendary photo. It is, and I love it. So I mean, what else can you say? He is an absolute sporting legend, and I hope he sticks around the team for a long time, because I think that he is I think he's good juju. He's a good vibes, and he just brings a sort of classiness and a positivity that I think is part of the culture that I associate with Sporting Kansas City, and part of why I really like and respect the team.
Yeah, he's. I mean, I think you noted, like, just coming from Kansas City, being a ball kid for the Wizards, and then like working his way up to becoming the player that he has. It's just like, it's a great story, but also he was just exceptionally good, man.
Yeah,
like, just really good at the position. And Peter Vermees has been trying to find a left-footed center back to like sort of take over that role with him for so long, and it's just not worked out. And he's just, and I think that sort of speaks to the level that Matt was at. I don't know that. I think the problem that we have when it comes to like the national team and just sort of the U.S. soccer discourse in general is that MLS is looked down upon so much because of the level of the league in general, that you don't necessarily recognize the quality of the really good players in the league.
Right.
And Matt, he's got 40 plus 50 caps with the U.S. men's national team. Obviously played at the World Cup in Brazil. Like, the guy was of the level. Right, like, there was no doubt that he was of that level, and one of the best defenders in the league. And I just really enjoyed watching him play. I like I said, I distinctly remember, like, everyone talking about especially when he and Ike were playing together, 2017, 2018, when Ike was healthy for that period, except when he got kicked in the head by Rudy. Like, there were. Like, everyone talked about Ike as being sort of the transition eraser, and I'm like, no, it was Besler, man. Besler was the guy that would read transition plays and and break on them and have the athleticism to participate to actually close them down. And like that pairing, I think we discussed on the Discord, just like what was the best center back pairing for the team, and I think the most talented was definitely Besler and Ike. It's about 2018. Yeah. I think all of us will agree the 2018 Sporting Kansas City team was probably the best team this team has ever put out there, for sure.
Yeah.
Which makes it even that much more frustrating with the Blanco goal and all the things that happened at the end of that season. Matt did specifically say like that was the most painful loss that he remembers with the team.
Same, Matt. Same.
Yeah. We all agree, dude. So like it's good to see him up there, but it's also sad to recognize that we don't have him playing for the team anymore, and but we can look fondly upon those experiences. Okay, we need to move on. MLS Players Association released the salaries for all of the players in the league. This is something they do a couple times a year usually. This one was a little later than usual. Typically it's like the end of May, I feel like, that they do this, or first week of June, and we got all the way until almost July before they dropped this. A lot of noteworthy things in here. One of them, you've heard me allude to the salaries of a few players already, so I don't think, I'm not going to list through all of them. Manu Garcia and Dejan Joveljic are 100% tacked on DPs. There's no way they're ever going to be TAM players. Maybe in the future, if they sign a future contract where their transfer fee comes off their salary cap, their salary charge, fine, whatever. But these guys are 100% DPs, and they should be, given the performances that they're giving this team. They are DPs, 100%. Some interesting ones in here are Tim Leibold's escalator in his contract, as we noted earlier. I think he's on like $950,000 in guaranteed comp this year. That was a confusing signing when they made it 3 years ago, when there were already two left backs on the roster. And remember, Vermees was like, well, you get the opportunity to bring in good players that provide competition, you do it. I don't know about at that pay rate. Like, who spends $1 million on a fullback in MLS?
I mean, Peter Vermees, like if his name is Graham Zusi, but no.
Even Zusi never made this much money, I don't think.
What did Zusi top out at? It's like $650 or something.
He was close to $900. I think it was $800,000. I'd have to go back and look at the releases. It was up there for sure, but also Zusi had a history of performance for this club.
This is true. Yeah, Leibold's had a couple of nice passes.
Bro. They've got in actual money $1.4 million wrapped up in left backs.
That's crazy.
And then between him and Kyrie Shelton, there's $1.6 million wrapped up in $1.7 million wrapped up in fullbacks, who neither are that good at playing fullback.
Right. Yeah. A little bit of bad roster management.
I made a comment to somebody the other day. I was like, really, the benefit that Sporting got from moving on from Peter Vermees is that he's no longer the chief soccer officer.
Yeah.
He just was not making good decisions the last several years when it comes to contracts. He even, you hear him sort of alluding to it in interviews and whatnot while he was still with the club, about how he doesn't, how excited he was to bring on Mike Burns because he doesn't want to be in these conversations anymore. He's like, it's really hard to go through like this very, sort of confrontational conversation about compensation and then go have to get that guy to work for you on the field, right? Yeah. And you can tell, like, he was, for all of what we have known Peter Vermees to be, as sort of this, disciplinarian and very rigid about how he wants to do things. It seems like he was a little bit soft when it came to managing compensation for players.
Yeah, he's like, here's all this money, and go do what you need to do.
Well, and also he's just like anyone, if you have a bias about a player, you see him in training, you like him or whatever, you're telling yourself that you need to give a certain number to him.
Sure.
I mean,
Yep.
I firmly believe this had a lot to do with the Johnny Russell situation. There's so many players with this club that had gotten used to how negotiations go with Vermees that they were expecting that kind of thing at the end of last year. And I know for a fact that Johnny Russell and his representation were asking for a lot more money than he ended up accepting from RSL. And that had a lot to do with why Sporting was like, nah, we're good.
Yeah.
We're nowhere near where your assessment is. And that is why he didn't sign until April with somebody for, $300,000 or whatever it is. Similarly, Remy Voltaire.
Yeah.
I've heard some discussion about what his contract demands were, and they were significant, and we're like, now we're good, and he still hasn't signed anywhere. So
Really makes you think, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. So when you see the fact that Kyrie Shelton's on his third year in a row of making almost $800,000, Tim Leibel, and again, I'm not mad at these guys for getting their money. Go get your money.
Heck no.
Dude.
Yep.
Go get your money. Get paid. Do whatever you need to do to get your money. I am frustrated with the front office or the former sort of chief soccer officer for making bad choices with a limited budget, right?
Yeah.
Like, you only have so much money you can offer. With the salary cap league and the TAM and the GAM and all that stuff, you're talking about $11 million or so a year in roster spending you can do. Obviously, DPs are beyond that, but like the salary budget you have is $11 million this year. When you invest $1.7 million of it into two below average fullbacks, that's that's not useful spending. And the thing that I am warmed by is that I feel like Mike Burns is not that guy. He will not overpay for players, and there's needed to be this shift in philosophy, and I think that the club is moving in a direction that's positive. I think the other significant upside to this is including Leibold and Shelton and Joaquin Fernandez and Daniel Rosero and Eric Tommy and a few other players. Like, Tommy's performance bonus option hit at almost max TAM. Like, he's at like 1.6 million this year. And again, good for him for getting that contract.
Absolutely.
Nemanja Radia it goes down a little bit this year, but you put all those players together, it's over $6 million of salary cap spending that they could potentially free up in the offseason. And that's a lot, right? And that gives you a lot of flexibility. Now, that said, it also means you have to replace all those guys with guys who can play, right? And candidly, this team has not hired anyone since Peter Vermees' departure to help them figure that part out. But
so they're shooting for the winter window, is what we're.
I don't think so. So there is, I think if I did the math right, around $800,000 or so in allocation money that expires if they don't use it.
Okay.
So and maybe more of that depending on the model they use. So here's the deal: they're using the 2DP 4U22 construction model, which gives them an additional $2 million in expiring GAM. So all that GAM, it is tradable, but it is also like it expires at the end of the year. You can't carry it over. I don't think they reported all of it when they did the roster release in the beginning in March. Armin Kafai and I have gone back and forth on this a lot and done some math, and we're pretty sure that teams can tell or not tell how much of that GAM they've spent. Okay?
Nice.
And the math I've done leads me to believe that they have not reported all $2 million of that GAM in what they put out there. So if they stay with this 2DP 4U22 model, I think there might be another $1 million of GAM in there that expires, along with the $800,000 from the Agata trade and some international slot trades that they made that will also expire this year. So if they don't sign a third DP, and I think Burns did this specifically for this reason, right, was to have the flexibility to sign a DP this summer if they wanted to. Right. So if they go to the 3DP model, then they can dump that GAM that they didn't use, and they're not in a hole, right? The second part is if they choose to stay with the 2DP 4U22 model, then they have a lot of opportunity to go aggressively with high TAM level players in this window.
High TAM U22s.
Well, they could do U22s or just high TAM players. So
Okay.
like they would have. I think somewhere. I don't know if it's a full million. They have the ability to go to the 3DP model and not have a substantive amount of pain from that, right? I don't know if they've got a full like half of it. And I don't want to get too far in the weeds here. Like this is way in the weeds. I think that they could sign, if they stay with the 2DP model, they could sign 2 high TAM players along with 2 U22s if they wanted. Okay.
Gotcha.
I think if they go to the 3DP model, they could sign a DP, a high TAM player, and a U22.
Sounds good.
There are a lot of options. That said, there is no chief soccer officer.
Yeah.
So how aggressive they're going to be with signing players is really going to be dependent on who's available, I think. If there's someone that Burns and the team is so high on that they want to get in, then maybe they'll do it, and they can get them. They may do it, but I also think that it's likely that we'll see them aggressively go after at least one player at the high TAM level that will sort of vacate the expiring GAM that they have, and then maybe keep their cards for the winter, as far as the rest of the stuff is concerned. I don't know. I don't have any insight to this. I just tell you what like I saw from the salary release and the math that I did as far as where they are on the cap, and they have options this summer to do a lot of things. They've got 2 guys on the senior roster who are making the league minimum that could be on making the senior roster minimum, who could be on the supplemental roster. They're only there for CBA compliance reasons. So they could sign 4 players. They literally could. Whether they do that or not is, I would be very surprised to see 4.
Right.
I would not be surprised to see 2.
Mm-hmm.
And there are significant areas in need regardless of who the CSO is, right? They need a center back, they need a center midfielder. They need both of those positions regardless. So I could see them going sort of mid to high TAM on both of those positions, sticking with the 4U22 model to the winter, and then making decisions after that. That would be probably, if I was making a prediction, that's probably what they do.
I mean, they frankly, they could use a player on
all 3 lines.
All 3 lines, yeah. So I think that it's nice that the team has the flexibility, especially when you think about where we were a year ago, where there was like no flexibility at all, and it also gives, I think, fans a little something to look forward to in the summer window, that there could be something happening, which is it's a good to see your club striving to improve and everything, and it also underlines how much of a shot in the arm everything is going to get this winter when a lot of those guys come off the book. So,
yeah, $6
very
million
interesting.
plus in that's over half your budget.
Right. That's
that you
crazy.
that you can apply. Now, granted, it's also players you need to replace, right? That means you need to sign a legitimate right back. You need to sign a legitimate central midfielder. You need to sign a legitimate, attacker / winger. You need to assign all those players leaving. You need to sign 2 center backs probably. So like, it's not just as simple as letting these guys go,
Sure.
right?
Absolutely.
There are other things to be said, and also like in the conversation of like certain players like in Denbei and Volador who are also out of contract, who are U22 players now.
Yeah.
Do you give them sort of low TAM level deals and accept that salary investment that comes with it?
Right.
In Denbei, I mean, I could consider seeing in Denbei, like in Denbei was on what, like almost $500,000 now on in the last year of his deal. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to pay for a left back. Granted, they've been paying it to Leibold for 3 years, so okay, and they won't have to be doing that anymore. But yeah, you would expect that he'd want Leibold kind of money to stay. And it's like, is that the best way to invest in your roster in MLS? I don't know. Like, these are all sort of the equations that everyone's going to have to do. Same thing with Volliter. Volliter, I like him at $500,000 a year. I think that's okay.
Sure. He's going to want more than that.
But if he wants $800,000-900,000, probably not, right? And I think that's. But then, like I said, the counterpoint is you have to replace those guys with guys of equal or better quality for similar investment, and that's not as simple as it sounds, right? Especially with a front office is as lean as Sporting's is. So. This is part of the reason why Peter Vermees ended up giving these contracts to some of these guys, is because he didn't have the structure in place to be able to support replacing them.
It sounds like Daniel Sperry needs to get on the front office hiring case there. We need some hard hitting investigative journalism, pushing things along a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think. So I appreciate the way the club is going about this. They recognize that they need help in identifying and qualifying the right candidates for this job, right? Like, I can understand that they need to bring other people, and they need to do a process by which they really evaluate this well. I have concerns about how capable they will be to make that decision.
Yeah.
But they the CSO thing is the most important thing in my opinion.
Absolutely. They
have to get someone in who understands that part of it and running an organization. Yeah. And once that person's in place, then the decision-making tree is underneath them. And that person can go, okay, Mike Burns stays as the GM. We need these other roles filled. I'm going to go recruit and identify and interview this talent. But I think we're 12 months away from any of that stuff being vetted
it seems
out,
like it.
Right?
It seems like it, yeah.
And that in the meantime, the team is in the middle of this sort of flux state of reinventing itself. And that makes it difficult when you don't have that person with that vision and that experience in charge, sort of guiding it. And I think that's probably my biggest concern about where the team's going in the future. And maybe what Mike Burns does is he just does a lot of short-term contracts for guys in the meantime.
Right.
That may be the smart way to go about it, right? Outside of Decky and Manu, he hasn't signed anybody for a long-term deal. That said, I also don't want us to waste Manu's prime.
Yeah, 100%.
Waiting 3 years for players to come in.
Absolutely.
So, anyway.
Home and away consulting service.
I mean, I don't even know that you and I are necessarily equipped to make those kinds of decisions.
Drew, fake it till you make it, man.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
I mean, on the sort of...
You've played Football Manager. I've played Football Manager. Let's go.
I'm definitely not like in the Dunning-Kruger effect kind of the like just knowing enough to think I'm really smart. I'm definitely down on the other end of that graph. Going like there's a lot of shit I don't know. I'm definitely going back up in the direction of where I feel fairly informed, but
you don't know. Maybe you're all the way on the other side. You don't know.
I don't know what the level of any of these people are. I mean, look, Garth Lagerwey. Garth Lagerwey is making a fucking mess of Atlanta United, and we thought he was the best executive in the league. So,
if there's one thing we've all learned in the last 10 years is that just about everybody is a lot dumber than they appear to be. So,
it's a fair point. Okay, let's move on to Potpourri. Just like your favorite Jeopardy category, we got a few topics in around the Sporting Kansas City MLS soccer sphere. The U.S. men's national team is final. They did beat Guatemala. It was 2-1. They gave up 20 shots to Guatemala.
Good Lord.
This one. So it started good, and then Guatemala turned on the pressure big time. They barely won the XG battle in this one. Anyway, they're moving on. They're in the final, probably against Mexico. Mexico's playing Honduras here in about 45 minutes as we're recording this. So USA-Mexico Gold Cup final is most likely circumstance, which we've seen however many million times.
Yeah, it'll be great to beat Mexico again.
It will be, assuming it happens. I think, I'm not sure where I'm at with this team. So they're
not good, Drew. They're not good, but that's okay because they're not the first choice players. Many of them aren't even the second choice players. I don't understand why everybody is all bent out of shape about it. Like seriously,
I'm not bent out of shape. I'm just
I
saying.
didn't say you were. I just meant like I mean it's U.S. men's soccer, so that's why everybody's bent out of shape. But like there's a lot of like gnashing of teeth and consternation, and I'm like, dude, come on.
Especially about things like Patrick Ajimang. Like, why are we worried about this?
He is at best the third striker at a World Cup.
I mean, you're being really optimistic.
I am.
If he's at third, like at best, it's like I mean, at best is doing a lot of work right there. I think part of the problem when it comes to the discussion around this team is that some of the position groups are so mid that anytime a player sort of pops out, all of a sudden everyone gets super excited about him because the other 8 guys that have done it have just not been that exciting. And Ajimang is you know, typical of that, right? Like you've got like think about like what the U.S. national team striker pool is, right? And it's just a bunch. It's literally like I thought about this today, and it's like I could go through it, and it's just like guys naming dudes. Like that is like literally
a bunch
what
of
it is.
dudes.
It's like Josh Sargent, Fuller and Balogun, Haji Wright, Daryl DK, Jordan Pifak.
I am never ever selling my Josh Sargent stock.
I know you're not, but he's been bad for the national team. Like you have to admit that. Like he's not been good for the national team ever.
When he wins a World Cup next year, everybody will be like, "Oh,
wins a World Cup." we're reaching the Skip Bayless zone on that one. But I mean, it's just a bunch of dudes. Right? I didn't even get through all the way to Ajimang, but they're all like, why is Damian Downs not playing more? What, the guy who scored 10 goals in the 2 Bundesliga last year? Right. Like, what? What are we even talking about? You remember when Matthew Hoppe had like 5 goals in 3 games for Schalke? Right. And then we were all like, oh, Matthew Hoppe is going to be the next. And he actually had a good Gold Cup, too. Well, not really good. He played in that Gold Cup.
Well, I think everybody gets, they just think that because there's a bunch of European players now or a bunch of American players playing in Europe that the U.S. should be better, and that's just not like
there's
there are a lot of
shitty teams in Europe.
I was gonna say there are a lot of shitty. There are shitty teams in the Premier League. I mean, it just is not. It's not that simple, right? Brendan Aronson is probably going to start for a Premier League team. Okay, he's still Brendan Aronson at the end of the day,
and it still leads.
It doesn't even matter what he is
cool.
Who he is
you
and what he
for
is.
Southampton. That doesn't mean you're good.
It doesn't matter that if Leverkusen signs Tillman for $40 million like that doesn't mean anything. He's still Tillman, right? Like
I think he had a pretty good year at PSV, and he has been good in this.
So did everybody, and he has been good, but he's been good against substandard opponents, and so that's not a knock on him. It just is what it is, and he might be good. It might be a really good thing for him to bump up to Leverkusen. It might unlock him, but you just never know, right? He has had a good tournament. It's been good for him.
He is very much like I figured out what my issue with Tillman is. He is like the United States Mason Mount. Like he is like that guy. He's just sort of like a not really that great at anything, sort of runaround guy who gets involved a lot, but doesn't ever really do anything that great, but also scores goals, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so I try.
You're just trying to make me really hate him because, man, I despise Mason Mount. So
that's why I dislike him. Well, that's why I don't rate him. I shouldn't say dislike him. That's why I don't rate Malik Tillman that much, is because he is kind of a Mason Mountish sort of modern midfielder kind of guy.
Sure. Yeah.
And I just don't like those guys. I like my crusty fucking Mexican American dude that just does saucy shit all the fucking time. Like that's what I
love that kid.
And he, by the way, 2 goals. He had the 2 goals for the U.S. in this game. Yeah, the second goal. Oh my god! Like
I don't want to know anymore. I have to because I recorded the game, so
you
I
need
to
go watch
it.
Oh my god! It's you're gonna make a noise when you see it.
I'm sure.
I love Diego Luna, and Luna. To be fair to Diego Luna, of all of this stuff that's happening, and I think Pochettino's. He's really trying to create a vibe in the
Yeah.
locker room that's a little bit different from Berhalter, right? Like it's more of a really like playing for each other, fighting for each other kind of thing that he's trying to do, and Diego Luna he's a Poch guy. I'd be amazed if Diego Luna isn't playing a significant role in the World Cup next year, just because he does the things that Poch likes. He is that kind of saucy, sort of creative player who also, like, I haven't watched him a ton this year, but his counter pressure is improved
he works
immensely, man.
He works.
Like, he creates turnovers in the attacking third a lot. And obviously the creative stuff is what pops off and everybody sees, but he is a real good player, man. And he sort of understands the sort of fight that's necessary in tournaments
he
like
knows
these.
The assignment. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think I am not going to like get behind the sort of jingoistic stuff that goes along with the dual national thing with certain players that play in Europe. But I do think that playing in Europe sort of insulates you from what CONCACAF is like.
Yeah.
And it doesn't allow you to understand like the fight that's necessary to win these games.
Yep.
And I do think that there are a number of... I think that U.S. men's national team has become a more talented team, but I don't think it has the same level of intensity that it has had in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of those players have gotten where they are by being, superb athletes and excellent soccer players, and not so much like junkyard dogs, right? Like
they don't know what to do when Guatemala just kicks the shit out of them for 90 minutes, right? And
Right.
like this game should never have been close. Even with it being the B/C team, it should never have been close. Like Guatemala is starting Rubio Rubin up top, okay? Like the chasm in quality of these players is fairly significant. It should never be close, but it is because it's CONCACAF, and it's because these other countries, they play their fucking ass off.
Well, and they CONCACAF it too, right? Like they know how to play. They know how to muck it up, and that's
they know how to, but they also know how to game up the game, right? Like their
Right.
gamesmanship is just so much better. Like that is the biggest issue I have with this U.S. team. They just don't have the gamesmanship gene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that is how previous U.S. men's national teams
Well, that's how
were able to punch above their weight.
That's it. That's how less talented teams are able to do that, is to equalize by being CONCACAF-y, right? Like that's just the way it is. And if you could take that show on the road, then that's something to do.
Right.
I've been impressed with Chris Richards too. I think that Chris Richards overall has had a
100%.
And that's needed, right? Like they need a standout performer on the back line. I think Matt Freese, just that penalty win versus Costa Rica was a really big deal, and I haven't
seen a goalkeeper performance like that in a penalty shootout since Tim Melia.
Right, we've seen, as Sporting Kansas City fans, we have seen what a string of good performances, what kind of boost that can provide to the confidence and performance of a young goalkeeper. And so like that's been really important too. Like the gold, this group being at the Gold Cup is like a good thing, right? It's not like, it shouldn't be, we're missing all of our best players. It should be like, okay, next man up. Let's see, what do you got? Like who's ready to step up and perform. And I think that it's telling the players who have done so.
I also think it's telling that Poch is 100% prioritizing guys who are playing, versus guys who are not.
Yeah.
And I think within reason, right? I think Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie and some of those guys are going to be in the camp regardless, right? If they were available. But I think it's also telling that Matt Turner is set on the bench for this whole tournament.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting saga with that guy. It'll be who knows what. I guess maybe now he's landing in Nottingham Forest. I don't know. It's
well, well, the whole thing. I guess it really depends on.
It's
all
it's
kinds
a
of
saga.
stuff. It's a saga. There's a whole thing in our Discord that Daniel Sperry went through that talks about sort of the drama related to Nottingham Forest versus Lyon, and like how they're trying to screw Crystal Palace after losing out on a Europa League spot, I guess, because Crystal Palace won the FA Cup. So anyway, I'm not going to get into all those details right now.
Go to the Discord.
Go to the Discord. Link is in the show notes. But yeah, I don't know that Turner honestly is like some undroppable goalkeeper that we
He's
have to
not.
be like. I'm not saying that. I just thought it's interesting that an MLS goalkeeper has started all these games, and I think Freese has been pretty good outside of that scuffed clearance off of that weird back pass by Tim Ream.
Yeah,
I have watched Tim Ream a fair bit since this, and he does zip a back pass, man. Like he doesn't make it easy to receive.
yeah.
I think it's from playing in the Premier League and understanding that you have to set it back fast so that the pressure can't get to it. But I'm not sure Matt Freese is used to. Even Chris Richards struggled with one. He was Tim Ream zipped one in the first half of this game, and Chris Richards like struggled with it. And I'm like, okay, like maybe just take a little pace off that thing too. Okay. U.S. women's national team is also playing. They are up 3-0 right now, with a goal by one Claire Hutton.
Oh,
Yeah, the first two goals are from Sam Coffey and Claire Hutton. You love it.
Right.
You love to see
Let's
it.
go.
Central midfielders get on the score sheet.
Yeah.
Like it's the best thing. I have seen none of this game. They have absolutely dominated Canada by the stats. Like it's like 21 shots.
not a good week for Canada, is it? Yikes.
Yeah. You know, I mean, we should discuss this for a second. The reason the U.S. are playing Guatemala tonight is because Guatemala beat Canada, and I gotta be honest, man. Like,
You're supposed to say half strength Canada.
half strength. Well, that's the point I'm about to make. Jesse Marsch has been such an insufferable dick for the last several weeks that I am enjoying the Schadenfreude.
I would put it at the last year.
Well, I mean, Jesse Marsch is sort of an insufferable dick in general.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of his baseline, right? But he had it turned up to 11 for the last several months.
Yep.
He can't stop talking about the U.S. men's national team job that he didn't want but didn't get, and went on and on about how his players weren't opting out and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden wanted to talk shit about we were half strength. Cool. Take your L back to the house, brother.
Yeah.
Anyway, the U.S. women's national team. We were moving on. They are smacking Canada 3-0, which is great to see. And yeah, Claire Hutton on the scoreboard. So I'm gonna have to go check these highlights out because everyone knows that listens to this podcast regularly that Cody and I are very huge Claire Hutton fans, and we love to see her succeeding, especially on the national team. Like that's awesome.
Anything that gets us closer to a regular pairing of Hutton and Johannes is that's what I'm shooting for.
I will be honest. I have not ever been the biggest Sam Coffey fan, but I've watched this U.S. women's national team all this year, and she's been really good, like really, really good. And she got the goal. She's had 2 goals in the last 3 games, and this midfield was a Coffey Hutton double pivot with Rose Lavelle in front of it, and
Oof.
I'm pretty excited. I want to go watch this game because I'm
All right.
pretty excited.
I'm gonna have to go watch.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Izzy Rodriguez, also KC fame, got her first cap and goal against Ireland in this one. So, I put here in the rundown that Canada will be the real test tonight, and then they just smacked the shit out of them. So
Yeah.
Emma's got them rolling, man. And not
I wasn't going to mention that. I was going to let it slide, but you outed yourself. That's all right.
Well, I think that like what's clear is how much Emma has this team like really running into form, right?
And it doesn't seem to matter who plays, like which player.
Right.
Which player
All
she
of Triple
brings in.
Espresso is out. 2 of them are having babies, which is fine. Like that's cool. We've got Michelle Cooper and Alyssa Thompson, and Lynn Biondolo was center forward, but we've also seen Ali Sentnor play up there. Like she has this team in a place where any of about 40 players can be called in, and they just smack the shit out of whoever they're playing.
You love to see it.
You do love to see it, for sure. MLS teams bailing out of big Euro contract or big former European player contracts. Olivier Giroud mutually terminates his deal with LAFC to go to Lille. Cool. It was Lille, right? Or was it Lyon? Which L team in France was it that he went? I think it was Lille.
Lille. Lyon's the one that's going down.
It makes sense that Lille would want it because Jonathan David's going to go to Juventus, so that makes sense.
Yep.
And then finally, the grand experiment the Italian experiment in Toronto has ended. After, I don't know, what, $60 million they spent on those two guys over the last 3 years.
So much for so little.
Both Lorenzo Insigne and Federico Bernardeschi are leaving. I have no idea what Insigne's options are. He might just retire. Bernardeschi, it seems like, is going to go to maybe Bologna.
Yeah, that's what I had heard. Yep.
Yeah. So, anyway, I think basically what happened here is Tom Booger has reported that Toronto's going to use their buyout on both guys. They sort of agreed to it. Toronto's just going to buy it out, use their 2 buyouts this year to get them off the books. And they're both.
It just underlines the danger of buying the wrong DPs, and one of the reasons it's taken so long, especially with Insigne, is he didn't. You have to agree to a number for a buyout, right? And he was asking for too much, and he was a cancer in the locker room, and it's been a bad deal all the way around, and so it's not, especially in other leagues, it's always, the amount of money you pay is pretty directly proportional to how well your players perform, and it's not such a straightforward relationship in MLS because of all the salary cap machinations. But when you have two DPs who are non-functional, it is just murder, man. Wow.
Not only that, like, you've given a $15 million a year contract to one of them.
Right. Highest paid player in the league until Messi came, yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is way worse than Shaqiri or Schweinsteiger. Yeah. Schweinsteiger, most of his deal was paid for by Adidas, is what I've heard. So it's like it's a different thing. I think Toronto has a fairly significant Italian population, so I think that there was like some intent on marketing and all those other things that were related to that. But man, I mean, what a fucking waste of money.
Yep.
I mean, it's good that MLSE. So, for those of you who aren't familiar, Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, which owns the Toronto FC, also owns the Maple Leafs. Do they own the Blue Jays too? I don't think they own the Blue Jays too, but anyway, I think they own the Argonauts, the CFL team. But they have a pool of money, right? So for them, writing off a $15 million contract is a little bit different than an MLS Sporting writing off a $15 million contract. So it's a little bit different because all of their earnings are sort of combined, but still it's pretty bad. It seems like most of the people that made those decisions are now gone from TFC. Yes. So it'll be interesting to see how they rebuild. But I look more of this. I look at this more of a situation where some of these sort of interesting older European players are probably not going to be targets of MLS teams in the future.
No,
like it seems to be sort of going the way of the dodo, which is good.
Yep.
Which is
absolutely,
as this league matures, that should be the situation, right? You should be looking for more Manu Garcias and Dejan Jovaliches, and a lot less Lorenzo Insignes and Steven Gerrards and Frank Lampards and things like that, right? Like you should be looking for even Gareth Bale, although LAFC did okay with the Bale thing, it was a TAM deal, and he did win. He did score the winning goal in the MLS Cup. So I think that there's some positives, but Olivier Giroud, who was obviously just a terrible decision, like for the way that Cherundolo wants to play soccer, like it made no sense for him to be there. So I think that you're going to start seeing MLS teams just start to shy away from this as the league matures, and it's more about the soccer and less about what XYZ star you're trying to market.
Amen. I mean, why pay all that money to, over 30 European stars when you can go to, the Belgian league and sign, players in their prime who are more productive.
Well, and I think we've seen if the team's winning games, the stadium's going to be full.
That's it. Yeah.
You don't need
almost everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, Messi is a completely separate conversation for sure, but for the most part, the players aren't why people show up.
Yep.
Is the team good? That's why they show up. All right. Last thing. Quick preview. 4th of July in Colorado. It's going to be hot. It's going to be high altitude. The density altitude, for you nerds that know about cars, is going to be pretty high. I think that Sporting matches up fairly well against the Rapids from a talent perspective. The Rapids have 3 wins in the last 3 months, and they're against the Galaxy, St. Louis, and Salt Lake. So it's not like this is a very good team they're playing right now. That said, it is away. It is at altitude. It is going to be hot. It is going to be tough. It seems like, for the most part, the Rapids struggle to create high-quality shots. So, yeah, I think this is going to be similar to the RSL game. I think it's going to be cagey. It's probably going to be a little physical. Yeah. I think it's going to be a little mucky, and it's just going to be a matter of who can come up with the sort of the performances in the key moments, honestly. The only thing I will say about Colorado is Armas has them sort of – he rotates the front line around quite a bit, and he seems to sort of move between sort of a 4-4-2 and a 4-2-3-1 quite a bit. And sometimes the 4-4-2 has Mihailovic up high next to Rafa Cabral, or Rafa Navarro, excuse me. And also they have Kevin Cabral as well. They have Teddy Duke. I struggle to say this guy's name.
Coup di Pietro.
Coup di Pietro. Thank you. It's a tough name to say.
It is.
Teddy Coup di Pietro. They have a few different guys like that, and obviously, but he's moving those players around quite a bit, and so I think that it'll be interesting to see how he actually sets up this game, because they do sort of change a lot. They were very fortunate to get the 3-3 against New England. Like New England absolutely dominated them on pretty much everyone's XG model. So and they were up 3-0 in that game on some. They scored 3 goals on 4 shots on goal. So cool, but also
not replicable.
Not replicable. And Sporting has had some of those performances as well,
sure,
right? So
sure.
I think they're a fairly similar team to Sporting as far as quality and capability. So I don't think this is an impossible game for Sporting to get a result in, but also it is on the road, it is at altitude, and I think that from a talent level, they're probably fairly similar overall, right? I think I think Sporting is probably better in some areas, and Colorado's better in others.
Well, it looks like Mihailovic is out, and Cole Bassett is out, and
really,
obviously
I didn't know
Zach
that.
Steffen is out. I mean, that's what FOTMOB has him out until late July. So. And they didn't play in the last game.
That would be why Mihailovic didn't play in the last one.
Yeah,
that would make sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that that's good, right? And and especially if that pushes them into more
that
of
would
a
be
4-4-2.
why you had Navarro and Yapi playing as 2 strikers in that game.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
So if I like Sporting Kansas City's chances if that's the case, because I think that that gives Sporting a chance to sort of dominate the midfield even without Jake Davis. I mean, Basong's already back, so I think that is good for squad depth. Obviously, I don't know that
Davis
we
is
want to.
suspended anyway, so
Right. That's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah. And, I don't know that we want to have Memo running around out there from for 90 minutes, and so that's kind of what I look at is sort of what happens in the midfield, and looking at what Sporting can do to get Manu Garcia, who is likely going to be the best player on the field, and they need to, get him in positions to make an impact. And I'll be interested to see whether or not Joveljic is back to starting, or if they're going to sort of ease him back into it. But I'm super excited for the Shoppy versus Sam Vines matchup there. Yeah, that's a marquee.
I mean, yeah, cool. I don't know. I am still just waiting for Carey to trot out the 3-4-1-2 or 3-4-2-1.
Yeah.
I really want to see it. I really
Yeah.
want to see it. I want to see, like, if they did the 3-4-1-2 with Munoz underneath and Shallowy and Joveljic up top, I would love that. 3-4-2-1 with both of them sort of pinched in is fine too. I don't care.
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't matter. Those guys are going to rotate around a lot.
Agree.
I would just love to see it. I think you could put Memo next to Basong in a double pivot. I think that would work. So and if you want to go all gas no brakes, you could put Tommy at right wing back. Like there's a lot of things you could do.
That you have a fitter Kyrie Shelton and a fitter Logan Ndenbe, I think that those that kind of thing might be in play, right?
Yeah.
Because you need somebody to provide width, and those would be the guys doing it. So
I do think that Kyrie and Tommy on the right side sort of worked.
I totally agree.
It worked against RSL because Tommy roams so much and then Kyrie can just stay wide, and that actually worked. But he also will invert it to midfield sometimes. Like I do think that there were some things I liked about that too.
Yep.
Again, the base formation is sort of irrelevant. I'm just talking about what I want to see in the attacking zones.
Yeah,
and I think there are ways to get those guys out there, and I think Shoppy is I was thinking he's a useful player, but he's a very industrious player, right? Like, and it's not in a like Shoppy is one of those guys that just sort of he pops out and does something good every now and then, but also provides a level of intensity that I think the team needs, right? And so I feel like he's more of a tone setter than necessarily a good soccer player. But also you need that on the field too, right? So I don't know.
I over the weekend against RSL, I think that Ian James shielded Gozo out. He escorted Gozo out for gave up a corner kick, and Gozo was like talking trash to him as they were walking back, getting ready for the set piece, and I don't know why it was Shoppy, other than it's just Shoppy, but Shoppy just comes out of nowhere and like gets involved and sticks his nose in there and tells Gozo what to do.
Man.
So
he's a good teammate.
He doesn't take shit.
Yeah, and this team
hopefully
needs some of those
hopefully
guys.
He'll be able to breathe.
We'll see. I don't know. I got to be honest. Outside of Joveljic, of the new players, I don't know any of them have dealt with this before.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting experience for him for sure.
Yeah. We'll have to see how it goes, and we will be back next week to discuss how it goes. So until then, I'm Drew. He's Cody. We will talk to y'all next week.
Go Sporting.